Give more than expected. Give more than your mentee expects, and it works. Maybe it's key for my being top mentor, because I always try to give more than people expect. I am not losing something except 5 extra minutes or something like that, but I receive respect and I receive good reputation. My main secret is that I always propose introduction call for free. I always make first call before accepting application. First of all, we make call with my future mentee and we try to understand if I can help. Because sorry, I am not God and I can't help everybody, and I am not superhero. I don't know everything. I have very specific niche, Java backend development, and almost that's all.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Top Mentor Podcast, and today we have Andrii Latyshev, who is a Java developer. Well, for those who don't know Andrii, he's been doing Java for quite some time now, and he's been teaching some people in MentorCruise. Let us know what's been your experience until this moment, your whole journey on your career, to see how have you become a top mentor.
I will start from my main job. I'm Java developer. I am Java developer last 8 years and a little bit more, 8 years and a few months. I started one big telecommunication company. I don't know if you know, Netcracker. They create for telecommunication operators, providers. And I have been working there during 5 years. And after it, I changed company to another style, because Netcracker is product company, and I wanted to try something new, for example, outstaff or outsource, because it improves you much more, because you have different projects, you have different technologies, and so on. I moved to another company. I was working there around 2 years, and now I returned to product company again, because I like product approach, because you communicate with users, what are you doing and for who, and also you can receive feedback from real customers. And for me it's the most important, because when I create something I want to see result. Outsource didn't give me it, because all my outsource experience they were startups and not launched at all. My work was nowhere. But in product, you always see your results, you see your value, and for me, it's always the most important, it's value. It's my main job. I always working in companies, but I have kind of hobby. I mentor guys. I started at Netcracker. Netcracker has learning center. I started from my first year of experience on main job. I started to teach another people. I started as a junior mentor, because we had a group of mentors and we lead a group of students. I started there, and more experienced folks gave me really a lot of experience, how to explain something, how to lead team, how to manage student project, because student project, it's not real project. Its risks are much more high there, and you need to motivate them, you need to help them, you need to ask them if they need help, and so on. It was really a good experience, and after it I started to mentor in one online school. It was Ukrainian school, and it was really great experience, because they don't have theory, they have only practical exercises, and students need to write code to implement solutions, and I made code review for them, and we made it iteratively. They sent pull request, I commented, they fix it, and again till accepting solution, and after it start again for new task. And it was also amazing experience, because I had a really huge amount of students, around 20 students in one time. I was one of top performers there, and I really liked it, and it was really interesting. But in, I think, around half a year and a half, it stayed boring. Why? Because students started to ask the same questions each time, and I prepared some, notes, and I can just send link to them, and that's all. I didn't need to think. I have all answers, and it was not interesting for me because I like to communicate with students. Why I like mentoring at all? Because student can ask very different questions and they can be really tricky, and you can explain it only in case if you understand it fully. It's really challenge sometimes, and if you have very professional student who has really huge curiosity, he can ask you a lot of different questions. My favorite questions: how Java collection streams works inside under the hood. And okay, Google, come
Yeah.
here. Because I worked with it, was working around 5 years with Java, with collections, use it every day, but I didn't think about how it works under the hood, what is there. And it was interesting journey because I need to understand it fully to explain guy how it works. And it was really interesting. And it drived me. But as I said, after year and a half, you didn't met questions. And after it, I found MentorCruise. To be honest, I don't remember how it began, but or I received notification from them, or I found them and put my fill form, and they accepted me. Started new journey. It's on MentorCruise because on MentorCruise you have a lot of freedom. You can communicate with really different people. I have mentees who are senior developers, juniors, newcomers, and so on, switchers, for example. Very different people, and also geography is fully different. I remember I had students from 13 countries, as I remember. I think it's a lot because I had students from Australia, from Japan, from China, from USA, from Africa. To be honest, I don't remember exactly, but I remember Africa region, and a lot of students from Europe. So it was really interesting that different people, different cultures, different approaches, and you also have freedom to create different tasks, and everybody has different goals. And for each goals, you need to create different tasks, and you need to think a lot about it. You need to make them different, and you need to, first of all, you need to think how your mentee can achieve this goal. What should you do for him to help him to achieve it? And I really like it, and I continue to do it. I'm on MentorCruise around 3 years, maybe four. Maybe in this summer will be 4 years. I'm one of the first mentors there. And yeah, it's my journey. I have main job, and in parallel, I always had a mentor job. I forgot. I also was working in Java Rush. I don't know. In Europe, it's called Mentor, as I remember. And it was also fully another experience. Why? Because it was lecturing twice per week. I need to spend 2 hours for explaining something for students. And it was also very different and very interesting experience because one thing when you explain something to one person in particular situation, in particular code, but another situation when you have 50 students online, they are watching you online, and you need to explain different things. And we started from plain Java, and we finished it by Spring and everything else. It was also a really amazing experience, and it gives me a lot of skills for communication, for explanation on fly, because also they can ask questions and you need to answer on them, and you can't be prepared for all questions. It was really amazing experience.
No, that's quite some road. You've been dealing with teaching slash mentorship from a lot of different perspectives. I think also it's, you are, I think, one of the earliest adopters of MentorCruise that because, I was on the platform for, I guess, last year, but you've been there for quite some time. I wanted to dive more on the teaching side because it seems like it's something that comes natural to you, that you've been doing this for ages. How do you see the difference between preparing or teaching to a course type of stuff, like you mentioned, the 50 people giving lectures to 50 people to a group, rather than a one-to-one? What do you see the main differences, and what's the benefits you get from each of them?
It's a very interesting question. So I will start from lecturing for big amount of people. Um, it's interesting because you need to produce your lecture on fly during long time, and it really improves your communication skill and explanation skill. Also, you have 50%, and 50%, all of them are different. You need to explain in that way where everybody can understand you, can catch your, and if needed, they can ask question and clarify something, and you need to answer. It's interesting that big amount of people, all of them are different, and you need to explain for everybody. And it's much more harder than communication with one-to-one. Why? Because and for me, I like this approach when you communicate one-to-one, because you can understand person, you can understand his mind maybe, and you can try to, select correct key for explanation. Because, for example, all of my mentees, I know them very good, I know their experience, and I always ask to describe what they know, what they don't know, to understand how deep I should explain this idea. And it's much more easier. But also another side that when you communicate one-to-one, you need to keep good communication, you need to keep good relations, and you should care about your mentee, and you should pay attention for him and not forget. Yes. But when you have big amount people, you can't do it. You can't build personal relationship because it's one to many. And it's interesting because you can spread your knowledge to more people, but you can't create personal relationship. For me, I one-to-one, because you can speak with people, you can understand their experience, you can understand their pain, and you can fix it. And when you do it, you feel some goal achieved, you helped, and you have good value, you understand your value in the life of your mentee, and it's really amazing feeling. But for big amount of people, it's different, but also you can impact their life. Not always you see this value, because somebody can be quiet and he or she don't like to write messages and so on. They can respect me, but I don't know about it. Yeah. So
Yeah. After all, the personalized treatment that you get on a one-to-one, and also what you mentioned about the personalization of it, you can recall, if not all, I guess 90% of the mentees I had, all the stories I can get, all what we did, what we did not, and also what you mentioned, the amount of different cultures that you get. So you said 13, I had people as well from Australia, from Japan. It was like crazy. Oh, also on the time zone issue, it was
yes,
kind of a bit
yes,
tricky to handle. Yeah, but it's not the worst one. When they had almost 24 hours, it's just 24 hours. It's fine. But yeah, and also on the lectures, on the courses, the problem is that you get the feedback in a more, personal way. Yes, maybe a review, which I think it's also, very, very good to receive. Or, someone sending you a message is always happy to see someone maybe message you on LinkedIn. Yeah, I remember you from the course, things like that. But as mentioned, is much more personalized than the mentoring. So on that topic, on the moving more on the mentoring side, how do you approach like your first steps and your initial contact with when you receive a mentee or an application? Maybe you discuss how you do it.
my main secret is that I always propose introduction call for free. I always make first call before accepting application. First of all, we make call with my future mentee, and we try to understand if I can help. Because sorry, I am not God, and I can't help everybody, and I am not superhero. I don't know everything. I have very specific niche, Java backend development, and almost that's all. And I always communicate with my mentee. Initially, we discuss what he needs. I ask to prepare his goal, describe it using this SMART framework, that it should be singular stuff, it should be time measurement, and so on. And we discuss if I can help with it. And I show what I have, which existing cases I have, which tasks I have, and what can we do with and it's applicable for mentee. And if yes, I continue on my side, he continues on his side, and we start mentoring. I always also extend trial period if needed, because we have 7 days for understanding if everything is okay. I try to push my mentee to do something where I can give feedback from my side, and mentee can understand how I work, how I make pull request review, how I answer on questions, and so on. I try to make maximum activity during 1 week. If no, I extend my trial period to 2 weeks, if needed 3 weeks, and I give my mentee full possibility to understand how it works and if I am okay for him as mentor. And also, it's always should be remembered that for me it's the same. If I can help, if I can explain, and so on, because some people can have fully different understanding, or for example, somebody can't understand my English, and so on. It's also important. I had one student who couldn't understand my English, and it's so I can't do it something for now. And I give this possibility to feel each other. If we can build relationship, if I can help, if we continue to work. If no, we say goodbye, and we have very good relationship, because sometimes they can come to me and ask some questions or return, for example, for mentoring. They understand, for example, they changed goal, and I know that I can help. We may go again, and everything started again. Yeah, the main stuff that I always try to understand if I can help. If yes, everything is fine. If no, we say goodbye, but we stay as good, not friends, but colleagues.
Stay in contact.
Yes,
Yeah.
colleagues. Because the main stuff that maybe in some future my mentee will be my colleague, or vice versa. And in IT, we must keep relationships, because networking should work.
Yeah, I think that's also a hidden value of the mentors on the mentorship is like the amount of people that you get to know and the diverse backgrounds. You never know who will you find in your journey. And meeting all these people, which I thought I would never have a role that would allow me to do that. But this type of people that get a lot of clients, get clients, and then you get to know each other, and you are the central guy. It's a very good role to have, because you get a lot of stories, a lot of information, different backgrounds, different ways of doing things, and also you get to be in a lot of different positions, because the same way that you explain something for a mentee would work, but for others don't. So you need to rethink about it, and it will make you better in your career itself, because that's a skill to have. And also,
they're pieces of experience, and it helps improve yourself too. And it's very good that you are not restricted by your project and your team. You have different views, you see different experience. For me, I had students, I also had a little practice for career consultation, and I met really different people with really different experience. And for me, it was a surprise. For example, the biggest surprise that there are projects where you don't have database, you don't have new technologies, so you have manually written on poor Java, and you just redirect, and that's all. It's much more complex logic, but the main idea is that no database, no this, modern features like, I don't know, microservices, databases, streaming, and so on. Nothing at all. Poor Java, and that's all. Nothing more at all. And for me, it was really surprise. And that guy was working there during 5 years on this project. So for me, it's
Yeah.
something new. That it's very, very narrow project. And it was interesting for me because I found out that it's present in our world and it's also possible experience.
You get a lot of situations when you see you never would thought of that. Also on the career guidance, I think is one of my favorite areas, even though I'm not very into that in my current role, because you get a lot of situations where you can guide people, and also if you help them land a job is a very satisfactory moment, I guess, for everyone. But if you help on that process and you took part of it, and that could help a session or maybe a chat on Discord, whatever, that's awesome. I guess that part is one of the funniest, because I like the mock interviews part. I've done that quite a few that, and they're pretty funny actually. And also CV review, you see some gaps, and like people like, okay, they never saw it. You think you need to put this very organized, because if I receive this, I would consider you. If the same you see the first CV they send to you and how the result it ends, and okay, I'm not HR, but as a developer, I would like this type and not the other type.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Regarding more on the Java topic, because as mentioned, I've been developing with Java for some years now, and even though I'm more focused on the cloud side, how do you see Java evolving these years, especially with the amount of frameworks? I've seen the Vaadin one. I don't know if you have seen that project, which is about like having these UIs built in on Java itself, more like of
Vaadin.
a Streamlit.
No, 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 no. I tried this one. I had one small project for it, and it was awful.
Yeah, no, I don't know. People are getting back to it. I don't know if I am prone to that, even though after all you end up with the same stack, like having a JS framework for the front end, and that's it. But I'm into the JS. But how do you see the Java environment right now at the moment, with especially with all the AI part integration? I don't know if you have dealt with that, but if you have any insights on that one.
Oh, I can say that I have insights, but I like current situation because there is Spring, Micronaut Quarkus, who can cover use cases, percent of use cases, and it's amazing. And they have a lot of libraries. There are a lot of courses for them. Learning curve became very easy to achieve. And also, Java community is huge, so you can always receive support. You can always find relevant answer on your question. It's much more better than for new languages or something like that. Java, it's industry standard. It's good. It's good because you always can find answer on it, on any question.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's the most important because during your work, you can meet some very strange requirement, I can call as it is. Yes, and you need to create some fix, and you can always Google, and you understand that somebody did it previously. You're not alone, and it's good, and
Yeah,
you
so
can check if it's okay. And also, I really like that Java community is really open-minded, and I remember that we are working with Kafka streams a lot for now on current project. And I remember that we had one big issue with Kafka stream, and we found author of that model. We wrote to him. I wrote to him in LinkedIn, and he answered it and explained me how it works and so on. It's amazing. I agree that it can be in different languages, but I'm saying about Java because I'm expert in Java, and I don't want to say about another languages because there I'm not expert, and I always try to avoid mentioning spheres where I'm not expert. So, but I can say about Java that I like it and it's stable, and also very important stuff that we will have work during a long time because there are a lot of legacy projects, there are a lot of big businesses who use Java, and there are a lot of hacks and tricks, and AI can't real that issues because people
yeah.
can't understand what's going on there, and maybe God doesn't know what's going on there, but we deal with it. It means that we will have work during long time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, and there's a lot of, I think, Java is more known, but I was talking with another mentor about .NET, and I think these type of languages that are under the hood always, they are not in the discussion, let's say, of the trendy stuff, but they are always there. All core projects are there using these tools, and then if you want to migrate something from Java to whatever, you better, wish some luck, even though the language itself is not complex. It's just, but I believe it gets the best structure. I like a lot when projects are well developed in Java itself. The structure that you get could be, I mean, one of the best codes, When with other ones, because I deal with a lot of languages, I see that the structure struggle a bit, and also the order is, less strong or weaker than in Java itself. And also on the AI part, I would like to see how everyone, adopts it in terms of how to implement AI, not to use it on the development, which you can use. You can put Copilot and you have like a Stack Overflow bot with steroids. That's how I have used it until this moment, and it's working fine, and it's providing a lot of value. But also, how do you implement AI products in the different streams? And after all, what I'm seeing is that it's either an API wrapper to call an inference, or you deploy the inference and you call it. The only problem or the only tweak is how do you deal with the augmentation, with the RAG, the stuff that is getting trendy now to give context. And I think that's an interesting part that on the AI development, like I would like to see how Spring. I've been pending to see that. I have a video on YouTube, like what's later for Spring and AI, library. But I think that with the amount of projects built to large databases that Java has, the bounding that with that to AI and these RAG AI type of projects will be awesome. And I'm sure that the Spring system will adopt it, and the other frameworks for sure.
Yeah, AI is on the beginning of their way, and I think we have great future with AI, and it will help a lot, and it will make a lot of different interesting tasks with voice recognition, text analyzing, and so on. Voice recognition, because previously I remember I had one project where sheets with information, they are structured, but any company can make different table style, or they can use plain text where expected table, but they can use plain style. And we need to analyze this file and extract all necessary information. And we did it manually, and it was something like hell, because a lot of visitors, a lot of complex algorithms to analyze, to fetch necessary data, to match it, and so on. Now you can just upload PDF and ask AI, please give me this, and that, and that. So we implemented that during half a year with 5 people in the team. But now AI can do it in 10 minutes, and you can create application during one evening to implement this functionality to fetch all necessary information, and that's all.
Yeah, I think that also the frontiers that will unlock in terms of productivity, and the that will only rely on us, the amount of work that we can make it faster, and also the amount of work that we can deliver with it using the tool. I would like to, end up with something that I like to share with the audience. Is like, what advice would you give to people that are thinking about doing this type of mentoring, or starting to teaching or create courses or whatsoever, since you have like a lot of experience in the field? So what advice could you give to someone that is maybe senior or intermediate and is thinking about this?
First of all, I can say that everybody must be a mentor. It's very good way to improve your skills, because when you explain something to somebody who don't know it, it first of all checks your knowledge if you understand it fully or not, and second one, if not, you should go learn, fill this gap, and explain. You can explain only in case when you understand it, and understand it good. And it's really good way to improve your understanding of things, where maybe you code, collections. Yes, everybody use collections every day in Java, but not all knows how it works under the hood. And it's interesting journey, and sometimes I need this knowledge to improve performance of my collection and so on. And it's a very good exercise. And also second very important thing about sharing knowledge, you can pass interviews very good because you can explain, and you can explain interviewer what do you know and how it should be. And for me, technical interview always something very easy because trivial questions, it's not interesting for them to ask me because I can explain much more than them. For example. So, and it's also good because a lot of middles and seniors developers, they afraid interviews because they don't remember the theory or just can't explain some things. They can use it every day, but they don't think about it. It's more skill or mechanical memory, something like that,
Yeah.
but not explanation. And when you have mentees, you always train this skill for explanation, and you always keep it in mind, and you can explain for everybody. It's first very important stuff that everybody should be a mentor. I see. As I know, senior, it's guy who has this skill. It's mandatory skill for senior. So senior, it's not about experience. Experience, it's more about middle. Senior, it's more about soft skill. And one of important skill is communication and explanation, because you need to explain to your team why we should go this way and convince them. It's first moment. Second moment, I can advise that first of all, always build a personal relationship with mentee. Mentoring, it's not about money. It's not about some profit. It's more a hobby for me, and I like to speak with people, to explain something to them, to hear their questions, improve my skills, and so on. It's something for long term for you. And I always prefer to think about mentee as for human person. Because to be honest, I met a few mentors because I also use mentors because I think only mentoring can give you push to make big step in something. And sometimes you speak with mentors and you're for them as, I don't know, it's just this application on MentorCruise and nothing more. So, for example, the simplest example, meeting. We aligned meeting, we scheduled meeting for 1 hour, and exactly in 1.0 they finished their meeting and they can be interrupted in the middle of word and that's all, and without buying and so on. I understand if he has another meeting, for example, but if time is finished, bye, and that's all. I don't like this approach. For me, if my mentee requires much more time to explain, for me this 10 minutes cost almost nothing, but for mentee I can show that I him and it's interesting for me to speak with him. So it's not for money only. It's also relationships. And third option, it's maybe continuing of second one, give more than expected. Give more than your mentee expects, and it works. Maybe it's key for my being top mentor because I have rating 5.0, the highest one, because I always try to give more than people expect. And it works. And for me, I like it. And mentee also liked. And we have situation win-win. I am not losing something except 5 extra minutes or something like that. But I receive respect and I receive good reputation and so on. I think these 3 points are very important and I can share them.
No, that's a very good share. I think that also those three are core, especially the one that you mentioned when you feel that you're not giving help or that you are just a meeting and that's it and there is no follow-ups or you're not flexible enough. Then if you have an issue, let's say you go on vacation or you need a team meeting or whatsoever, you have a con and then you have to postpone, people will be a lot more, respectful with you. In terms of, okay, I go on vacation and say, go and enjoy instead of the other way around, which is going to be like, I'm going, no, why do you, I need your help now, whatsoever. The relationship is going to be worse. And I think that's not beneficial at all. Like, If you need to postpone a meeting, we'll do it next week or next month or whenever. But if I have to, I will reschedule. If not, I will provide you other one to next week. It's okay. I know you. My time, more or less. That's it. Don't be too strict on that one, and don't expect everyone to behave the same way. Try to provide the value, and if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. But normally, if you help people, it tends to fit, especially if you are expert on the topic. I believe those are great advices for new people. And I also agree that people don't know the benefit it is for your soft skills, for your communication. Like I feel much more confident speaking with people that I don't know. I've never thought about doing a podcast or something like that for myself. I'm a non-native English speaker as well. And I think most of it came from mentoring. Like I know how to teach people, I can help people, I can share the stories with people, and we can provide value in a different way. That's why I bring you guys to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
You're doing
So-
great, Jesse.
To wrap up, I wanted to let the audience know where they can find you and where they can ping you and where they can see your work there.
You can always find me on LinkedIn. I want to try to write a lot of posts and so on to try to manage my LinkedIn, but I don't have time. Or students or LinkedIn, and I always choose students. But you always can find me. My personal messages are open for everybody, and you can always add me to the network. And if you have question, I always open to answer, to help, because if I help somebody, I improve my skills too, and it's the main benefit for me. And for this reason, I always open to help for everybody because it improves my experience too. So it's win-to-win situation. Yes, and also MentorCruise. MentorCruise, as I know, they have this inquiry, and you can always ask questions. We always can make call and discuss. Maybe I can help you. If it's related with Java, I can help you, definitely. But not always, because for me, sometimes people comes with questions about DevOps and so on. I can explain in general view, but if you need to create structure for government, for example, sorry, I am not DevOps, I am Java developer. I know how to deploy my application to the cloud and how it works in general, but not specifics. But if needed, maybe I can share some contact, I can share some people. It's a power of networking, and I am always open for questions, for discussions, and so on.
Yeah, if you have any Java doubts, you can ping Andrii. If you have any deployment doubts, you can ping me. And everyone is happy.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Andrii, for coming. And yeah, see you on the next one.
Thank you so much for invitation, and it was a really great hour, and I like it. Thanks a lot.